looking overseas, and you know it, and you know it. Yeah, rounding up the, rounding up the, rounding up the, rounding up the, yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, and you know it, yeah. Reading through the law to see, I gotta dot the I's, even cross the T's, and you know it, and you know it. Praying to the Lord, have mercy, mercy. Show me where you wanna go first, you know. While I'm teaching to the people that's thirsty, searching for the truth that's hidden, you know. Speak through the mouth of my lips when I'm, show me where you wanna go next, you know, right away. If you lost and you don't know where the truth at, looking all around but you don't know where to go. Well, we gon' show you the way. Okay, let me read the line. Line it up, send it back to back. Kicking 9 times, doctrine killer, hater stepping back. Captain Joel from the book, yeah, the prophet's back. Officer Ahim, yeah, that's Pepper Black. Officer LaCroix, yeah, from way back. Minister of knowledge, officer, just remember that. We gon' search the whole world, oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 oh, 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 oh. Tell them you know. Tell them you know, oh yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, and you know it, yeah. Rounding up the, rounding up the, rounding up the, rounding up the, yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, and you know it, yeah. Reading through the law to see, I gotta dot the I's, even cross the T's, and you know it, and you know it. Praying to the Lord, have mercy, mercy. Show me where you wanna go first, you know. Oh yeah. While I'm teaching to the people that's thirsty, searching for the truth that's hidden, you know. Oh yeah. Speak through the mouth of my lips when I'm, show me where you wanna go next, you know, right away. If you lost and you don't know where the truth at, looking all around but you don't know where to go. Well, we gon' show you the way. Okay, let me read the line. Line it up, send it back to back. Kicking 9 times, doctrine killer, hater stepping back. Captain Joel from the book, yeah, the prophet's back. Officer Ahim, yeah, that's Pepper Black. Officer LaCroix, yeah, from way back. Minister of knowledge, officer, just remember that. We gon' search the whole world, oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 oh, 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 oh. Tell them you know. Oh yeah, just tell them you know. Oh yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our fathers going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies are teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Hey, shalom. We are back. You are now tuned into our Hidden History radio show. We're back. We are in chapter 3, the time of the Gentiles. It's time of the Gentiles. You can say that. So we're still dealing with Assyria. Right now. So we're going to actually go into the scriptures now regarding Assyria. We left off in Isaiah 10. 5 to 7. We're going to go back there again. Let's go to Isaiah 10, verse 5. Isaiah 10, verse 5. Let's just jump into it.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 10, verse 5. O Assyrian, the rod of my anger, and the staff in their hand is my indignation.
So the Lord's making it very clear that the nations that he rose up against us are his doing. The nations that were risen up against us are the Lord's doing. That's what he's saying. Read again.
O Assyrian, the rod of my anger, and the staff in their hand is mine indignation.
The staff, the power, their rulership, the staff in their hand is mine indignation. Now, last time we went over this, we went over the cruelty, the severe cruelty of the Assyrians, not only against us, but against nations, period. These guys were ruling. They were cruel kings, torturing, cutting hands off, limbs off, noses off, heads off, eyes out, gouging eyes out, all the above. So the Lord said in his hand is their indignation. Go ahead.
Verse 6. I will send him against an hypocritical nation, and against the people of my wrath will I give him a charge.
He's referring to us. Go ahead.
To take the spoil, and to take the prey, and to tread them down like the mire of the streets.
And tread us down like mud in the street. And they did. Go ahead.
Howbeit, he meaneth not so, neither doth his heart think so. But it is in his heart to destroy and cut off nations, not a few.
So it says, howbeit he meaneth not so, neither doth his heart think so. Meaning, Assyria's plan wasn't to just come into power and just conquer the northern kingdom, conquer Israel. The Lord is saying that their whole plan, everything that they're doing is because I say so. I make them do it. Just like Pharaoh. Pharaoh wasn't trying to keep us there. After them plagues, he said, let us go. He said, okay, go. Then he would say, no, stay. No, go. But the Lord was behind his mind. The Lord moved the minds of the king. So it says here, howbeit he meaneth not so, neither does his heart think so. He's not thinking about coming to power to just conquer Israel. It says, but it is in his heart to destroy and cut off nations, not a few, meaning many, because he was killing a lot of nations, overthrowing a lot of nations. And because of that, they were hated. Go ahead.
For he saith, are not my princes altogether kings? Is not Canoas, Carchemish, is not Hamath.
Right, it's not Canoas or Carchemish. Go ahead.
Is not Hamath as
Hamath.
Hamath as Arpad. Is not Samaria as Damascus.
Right, it's not Damascus. It's not Samaria as Damascus. Yeah, go ahead.
Verse 10. As my hand hath found the kingdoms of the idols, and whose graven images did excel them of Jerusalem and of Samaria, shall I not, as I have done unto Samaria and her idols, so do to Jerusalem and her idols.
Right, this is Isaiah speaking about Ephraim being conquered. Go ahead.
Wherefore it shall come to pass that when the Lord hath performed his whole work upon Mount Zion,
the Lord has done his work upon Israel. Go ahead.
And on Jerusalem, I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria and the glory of his high looks.
So once I use him to conquer northern kingdom, conquer Israel, I'm going to also have him overthrown as well. Go ahead.
For he saith.
Here's what Assyria says.
For he saith, by the strength of my hand I have done it, and by my wisdom. For I am prudent, and I have removed the bounds of the people, and I have robbed their treasures, and I have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. And my hand hath found as a nest the riches of the people, and as one gathers eggs that are left, have I gathered all the earth, and there was none that moved the wing or opened the mouth or peeped. Shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth therewith?
So the Lord is saying, because Assyria did not acknowledge that I'm the reason behind them gaining this power and conquering and plundering, because they acknowledged, they felt that their wisdom got them the power rather than me doing it. Read again. Shall what?
Shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth therewith.
Stop. So he's asking the question: shall the axe itself boast itself against him that heweth therewith? Meaning, can a belt boast itself against those who use it? So the Lord is letting you know that the Assyrians are his axe, that they're his weapon of choice against nations, against Israel. So that's why I always say over time that these nations are like the belt the Lord beats us with. So the Lord is saying about Assyria, shall the axe, meaning Assyria, bolts itself against him, the Lord himself, that heweth there, that uses it? No, it can't, because it's a tool. Go ahead.
Or shall the saw magnify itself against him that shaketh it?
No. Go ahead.
As if the rod shall shake itself against them that lift it up. Or as if the staff shall lift up itself as if it were no wood.
Right. So he's saying, can these things work without being used by the user? No. Like Deacon Asaph's class, God is a user. God used the Assyrians as an axe or as a belt to whip our asses with for being rebellious and hypocritical. And not just us, but other nations as well in the midst of doing that. He didn't just overthrow Israel. He overthrew a whole lot of nations and displaced a whole lot of nations. Okay? So now, so the Lord explains their rise and he explains their fall. Now go to 1 Kings 9:20.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 9, verse 20. And all the people that were left of the Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, which were not of the children of Israel.
Right, go ahead.
Their children that were left after them in the land, whom the children of Israel also were not able utterly to destroy. Upon those did Solomon levy a tribute of bond service until this day.
Right, they became our slaves. These nations became our slaves until this day, the day that the scribe wrote Kings. Go ahead.
But of the children of Israel did Solomon make no bondmen.
Right, because Israel's not bondmen. The nations are. Go ahead.
But they were men of war, and his servants, and his princes, and his captains, and rulers of his chariots, and his horsemen. These were the chief of the officers that were over Solomon's work, 550, which bear rule over the people that wrought in the work.
That wrought in the work, meaning referring to those Amorites, the Canaanites, them. He sent up his captains of men of war that were under David. They were raised up to be overseers over these heathens to build for us. They were our builders. The heathens were our builders. All right? We wanted something to be built. We used the nations to do it. And we had supervisors over them. Now, what verse is that? 23? Go to chapter 11, verse 1 to 10.
Book of 1 Kings, chapter 11, verse 1. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Sidonians, and Hittites.
So Solomon had a thing for heathen women. Go ahead. You had Pharaoh, daughter of Pharaoh. She's listed as number 1. All right. And then you have women of Moab, Ammon, Edom, Zidonians, which would be Canaanites, Sidonians, and Hittites. Go ahead.
Of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, you shall not go into them.
Do not lay with them. Do not marry these women. So Solomon went against the Lord, the Most High's laws that prohibited us from laying with these nations. Go ahead.
Neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love. Mm-hmm. And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. For it came to pass, when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his heart.
Right, so Solomon was young. He had these heathen women, but as he got older, they gained more influence over him. They were able to influence him slowly, because the Bible says they will turn your heart from the Lord. It's not a matter of how, but it's when. When it comes to these heathen women, when you marry the other nations, they will turn your heart from God. And as Solomon got old, it happened. Go ahead.
For it came to pass, when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father. Mm-hmm. For Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Sidonians.
He began to celebrate Easter. Psalmist starts celebrating Easter now. Go ahead.
And after Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites.
This is the abortion god. The god that many of you sisters worship today. The Milcom, the abortion goddess. God, go ahead.
And Solomon did.
What I mean by abortion god is this is a god that you would sacrifice your children to. Ashtoreth as well, but Milcom is one of them. Go ahead.
And Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord, and went not fully after the Lord, as did David his father.
Psalmist start going the hell off. Go ahead.
Then did Solomon build an high place for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab,
That's another abortion god. Go ahead.
in the hill that is before Jerusalem, and for Molech,
Another abortion god, Molech. That's the owl god. Go ahead.
the abomination of the children of Ammon. And likewise did he for all his strange wives, which burnt incense and sacrificed unto their gods.
All these gods are pretty much the same god, just different name. Female, male, different god, the same person, different name. As I mentioned earlier, I mentioned your Sargon, king of Akkad. That was Nimrod. Okay, or Nimrod, his mother / wife. I call her his wife, his mom wife. And then you have their fake son Tammuz, who she claimed when the sun shined on her womb, that it was believed that when Nimrod died, right, his soul conquered the sun, and therefore he became Sol Invictus. He became the unconquered sun god, or Jupiter or Zeus. That's all Nimrod, okay, or Gilgamesh. Same person, same guy. It's the same king, just deified. Because remember that Noah's son Shem and Japheth, their children began to deify their forefathers, okay, or deify their kings, okay. So Nimrod, a Cushite, this guy, when he died, it was believed that his soul conquered the sun, and that his mom / wife left in charge. She pushed the doctrine that that when the sun itself shined on her womb, the soul of Nimrod left the sun, entered into her womb, and she miraculously conceived in that Tammuz. And then Tammuz, the infant who she obviously labeled somebody else to have, Tammuz, when he was conceived, when he was born, he died as an infant. Okay? So the custom of, give me Ezekiel real quick, 8 and 4. So there was a custom that because this child, Tammuz, died as an infant, it is an infant death, you had to worship the infant. That's why in the Catholic Church, they always deify Mary and baby Jesus. He's always an infant. Because that infant is Tammuz. And that woman that exposed as Mary is the Christianized version of Semiramis, Nimrod's mom wife. Okay?
That's where you get your immaculate conception.
Right, so you get it from. Your virgin birth. That's where it comes from. You'd be surprised how many gods are born miraculously, especially around December 25th.
Yeah, that's why all the nations, they always say, y'all got, every religion got the same story as Christianity.
Yep.
Because they use the same deception.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Exactly. Ezekiel 8 and 4, right? I think that's what I'm looking for.
I think it's
Look for it. I know it's Ezekiel.
Deke, real quick, examining 1 Kings 11, right?
Yeah.
The first verse starts out that
8:14.
that was King.
8:14, that's it 4. Yeah.
It starts out that was King Solomon, right?
Yeah.
When you jump, and I'm bringing this out to the weather, to the spirit that's going around amongst Israelite, and y'all got to understand it. Solomon is going off. Verse 3 said, and he had 700 wives, princesses. He didn't have 700 queens. He
Right.
still kept them at that level that he's in charge. They wasn't ruling with him at the same time.
Right, well, the term princess does allude to a queen.
Okay.
It does allude to that, but the reason why we don't emphasize that term is because, today, it changed today.
Right, okay.
Remember, you read about what Asa's mom, she was called the queen.
Okay.
King Asa's mother was called the queen, and King Asa, his mom got into idolatry. He took the damn idol and stamped it.
Right.
So
right.
we did have queens. Mm-hmm. We just don't use that term because sisters their mind get retarded. So we say now princesses. Because a princess is a queen. It's just a queen that's married to a king. A princess is married to a king.
Right.
She is technically a queen.
Okay.
queen just mean wife.
Right.
Yeah,
Queen
it
means
means
wife.
wife.
The word queen just means wife.
Right,
Yes.
right,
Does not mean anything more than what that means. What you just said. Yes. You say queen now, woman means goddess of the earth, diva.
Yeah.
That's the thought now. But the word queen
We're
literally
50-50.
The word queen literally means wife.
Wife.
It literally means wife. That's exactly what it actually means. You sisters fall under the category of queen, as in Quean. You fall under that queen. You worldly sisters. You fall under the definition of the word Queen. That queen. You're those kind of queens. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll bring that out in a minute. Somebody, what you talking about?
Not
Queen.
a good one. Not a good one.
That's not a good queen. Get that, Ezekiel 8:14.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 8, verse 14.
This is the Lord showing Ezekiel a vision of what the priests were doing and what the women were doing behind closed doors. He's showing Ezekiel what was being done behind closed doors. Watch this.
Then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house,
temple.
which was toward the north. And behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz.
So that was the custom. You have women that were weeping for Tammuz because that was the custom. And so because that child died an infant death, our women who worshiped Tammuz, what would they do? They would take their babies and they would burn them alive and sacrifice to that same God to honor an infant death. That's what we would do. Okay, burn our children to Baal, burn our children to Molech, burn our children to Milcom. That's what we would do. And we would weep for our children or Tammuz. That was the custom. All right? And it all stems back to those three divine people, Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz. Okay? That pagan trinity. All of those trinities you see now in the world, all stem back to those three people. Okay? So now let's go back to where was that? What did I say before this?
We was going back to prove the queen, the different.
Yeah, get the definition of queen, please. Definition of queen, Quee. No, give me queen first. It's just I don't want this feminist thing. We're going to destroy it. I don't want.
Absolutely.
So I'll make it clear. I will clarify. We did have queens. Solomon's wives were queens. The term is used as princess in the Bible, but you do have the word queen in the Bible. King Asa's mother was called a queen. Bathsheba, Solomon's mama, was a queen. Yes, Abigail was a queen. They weren't called that, but they were. Reason we don't use that term for you sisters is because y'all get retarded. No one queen first. Hold that. That's my favorite word though. But hold that for now. Yes, go back to the other one. Queen and go to etymology of the word queen, just to clarify what it means.
Hey, Deke, real quick, not to just sidebar, but it's saying exactly what you were saying at the end of verse 16 to tell you that they worship the sun toward the east. So it goes right back to what you were saying about Tammuz.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What verse is that in?
Officer
Also,
09.
that's verse 16, Ezekiel.
Read verse 16. Why did you get that?
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 8, verse 16.
So the evil is that Israel will face the temple. Israel at the temple was to worship the Lord, and they worshiping other gods at the temple. Secretly. That's what they were doing. So the Lord was showing Ezekiel what they were doing in their mind, in the spirit. He was showing them, look what they're doing. They're at the temple worshiping. You think they're worshiping me? They worshiping a freaking baby. Mm-hmm. A pagan baby. Read it.
What the hell is this?
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 8, verse 16. And he brought me into the inner court of the Lord's house. And behold, at the door of the temple of the Lord, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men.
25 men.
With their backs toward the temple of the Lord.
So their backs was toward the temple of the Lord. They had their backs turned against the temple. Go ahead.
And their faces towards the east. And they worshiped the sun toward the east.
They're worshiping the sun in the temple.
What the hell is this?
Nimrod.
That's what they were doing. All right. So now, etymology of queen. Read that.
Queen.
We got to read this very carefully because, women get, oh, God, I knew it. I'm a God.
Right.
I knew it. Read that. Jesus Christ.
All right, queen. Middle English, quene.
Queen. This queen.
Queen. Preeminent female noble. Consort of a king.
Right. So in order for you to be a queen, you must be the consort of a king. You're not a queen by yourself. You're a consort of a king. There's no queen without a king.
That's it.
And when a queen, guess what a queen is? She's the daughter of a king. And wife of a king. But my point is that queens are nothing without men. That's my point. Continue.
Also, female sovereign.
Female sovereign.
Woman ruling in her own right.
Right, because you had pharaohs, which was a handful of female queens. Go ahead in Egypt. Go ahead.
From Old English, queen. Queen, female ruler of a state. Woman, wife.
See? Right.
From Proto-Germanic quenis, source also of Old Saxon
Queen, wife.
So a queen,
That's what queen is. It means wife.
it's not an independent woman.
No, it's a queen. A queen is a wife.
That's
A
right.
married woman. That's what a queen is.
She still goes from her father to her husband, so there's no
Correct.
independence.
Right.
Correct. There's no independence.
Right. So
At
she's
no
a
point.
Right. So when a king has a daughter, she's a queen in his balls, and she comes out, marries a man who's already made a king, whose father's a king as well, and she becomes the queen, the wife of a king, father of a king, mother of a queen, but she's father of a king. And when she gets married, she's married to a king. It makes her a queen. There's no way to leave men out of it.
All praises.
So if the father dies, the king dies, the queen dies, and she's left, she gained that power from a man.
Right.
That's the point. That's the whole point there. Continue.
Old Norse.
I'm just sidebarring, but I just wanted to bring this out. Because he mentioned the princesses, the queens, so I'm just bringing this out.
Hey.
So the word queen comes from Saxon, which is us, of course. Queen, wife. Okay, or read on.
Old Norse Queving.
Queen, that's queen too. Go ahead.
Gothic queens. A block variant of quinan. Source of queen.
Quenon, right? Go ahead.
From
Pi root.
From pi root.
Gwen,
Woman.
woman. So it either means wife or woman. That's what it means.
We read the second paragraph.
Yeah, read that one. Yeah.
The most ancient Germanic sense of the word seems to have been wife, which has specialized by Old English times to wife of a king.
That's the oldest definition of the word queen. It means wife. Wife of a king. That's what the word queen means. So when women say, I'm a queen, and she's a baby mama, you're not a queen.
Nope.
You're not a queen. Go to no. This is what you fit here. You sisters that run your mouth with that queen stuff. Go to the next definition of queen. Different version of queen now. Quean.
Without a husband, that queen is actually a defiled woman.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You're a defiled woman. Your body is not kept holy. You feel you could do anything you want with your body, and the results of what we've been seeing in society: single parent homes.
You become this. You become this right here. Press the sound. How's it pronounced? Click the sound.
Queen.
So it's the same thing. What does it say there? Blow it up. What's that version of queen mean?
Queen, an imputed or ill-behaved girl or woman.
Or what?
A prostitute.
There you go.
Damn,
That's
that's what we just brought
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
You
that's
don't
what-
know how to control and have moral discipline with your body.
Right. So you sisters walking around with a shirt saying I'm a queen, you gotta spell it that way. You want sisters in the world. Quean. Queen. You gotta spell it that way. Then you on point.
Because
Queen is delusions. You're not married to no king. You're married to a nigga, you're not a queen. You're married to a boy, you're not a queen.
Right.
You're just a girlfriend, a jump off, a stupid ass.
baby mama,
Dumb
babe.
broad, one or the other.
Shut my windows.
Yep. All praises, D. 'Cause
Yeah.
that, I mean, in the weather we under right now, women have to get a snapshot of reality.
Right, I can't. Yeah, that's why I'm making
You know,
sure.
you
'cause
gotta
based upon
get a
the climate,
snapshot
the
of
climate
that.
of last week.
Correct.
I gotta keep it stay in that vein.
Correct.
So sisters don't get high minded.
All praises the Most High.
I'm sorry, bro. What was that last?
That bite.
Yeah, what was that?
It confused me. I ignored it and kept talking over
Sorry,
it, hoping
D, I had to go back.
hoping no one noticed it. But thank you, Jazz, for bringing it back up.
I'm sorry. All right.
Sorry, because some kind of Hamite ritual or something going on in the background.
Now, what that say though? What is that?
Shut my windows.
Shut my windows.
Oh, shut.
Oh my God! Shut my window. That's crazy.
Hey, yeah, that's what happened. You gotta do when the queen is passing by. You gotta shut the window.
All right. Go to First Kings again. Go back.
All praises.
What the First King again? First Kings again. You read 11, right? 11.
Yes, sir. 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 9. Says, and the Lord was angry with Solomon because his heart. I'm gonna start verse 8. And likewise did he for all his strange wives, which burnt incense and sacrifice unto their gods.
Keep verse 7.
Verse 7. Then did Solomon build an high place for Chemosh,
So Solomon built high places for his wives. Go ahead.
the abomination of Moab, in the hill that is before Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of the children of Ammon. And likewise did he for all his strange wives.
So he built a place of worship for all his strange wives. We're talking about 700 freaking places of worship for all his wives to worship their gods in. So Solomon introduced massive confusion in the land over these women. Go ahead.
Let me see. And likewise did he for all his strange wives, which burnt incense and sacrificed unto their gods.
Go ahead.
And the Lord was angry with Solomon, because his heart was turned from the Lord God of Israel, which had appeared unto him twice.
God appeared to him twice. Again, you read 1 Kings 3 and 5 and 1 Kings 9 and 2. He appeared to him twice. Go ahead.
Verse 10. And had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods.
And God visited him and told him not to mess with these heathen women. And Solomon did not listen. Go ahead, read again.
And had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods. But he kept not that which the Lord commanded. Wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, for as much as this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee, and will give it to thy servant.
Stop there. So now let's get History of the Jews. History of the Jews, Volume 1. This is by Greats. Right? Solomon Greats, right?
Henry Greats.
Yeah, Henry Greats.
Heinrich, I'm sorry.
Heinrich Greats, Volume 1. History of the Jews by Heinrich Greats. This is Volume 1 here. I'll show you this book as well. It's not a big deal. I'll show you this one. All right. Here, Volume 1. History of the Jews by Heinrich Greats. Okay. We're going to read pages 161. And we're going to end at 163, building site. So page 161. Yeah.
We start here, Dick.
Solomon directed detention. Yeah, you start from there. Well, no, machine, go up to the top. Yeah, Solomon then directed. That's fine.
Yes, sir. Solomon then directed his attention to the formation of a court of the greatest magnificence, such as was befitting the powerful king whose commands were obeyed from the boundaries of Egypt to the banks of the Euphrates. In those days, many wives were...
That's how far our landmass extended. From the banks of Egypt, remember I showed you before, northeast Africa. The land of Jerusalem extended from northeast Africa up to the Euphrates, which is damn near past like Iraq, Iran, all of Iran. That's all our land, by the way. That's all ours. Iraq, Iran, that's ours. That boundary is a lot all ours. There's a little chopped up little piece of garbage land you see now, a little piece of land. That's not Israel. That's a piece. That's like the attic. Okay, Israel today is like the freaking basement. But the Israel as a whole, the whole land extends as far as the Euphrates, extends as far as up to the Euphrates, which is very, very far. Lots of land. Okay?
And we also keep in mind...
But it says in the boundaries of Egypt, because Israel and Egypt is next door neighbors. It's Africa.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right. With white supremacy, they make everything smaller and make their territories larger.
Right.
To prove that, they're bigger than us. Even in the language today, we're more in numbers, but we're identified as minorities.
Right.
It's a psychological plan. Even with the maps that we're seeing,
right,
they make all our land and continent smaller.
Right. Well, Israel is smaller because they can't draw it bigger because they're fighting over it.
Right.
So that land mass, they count small, but it extends way bigger than that. But you're
bigger
right.
than what they say.
Right. The Bible says it's larger than what it is.
Yes, sir.
Now, but they do on maps have it where European countries are larger. In African countries, Africa is freaking massive. You can fit like 4 Americas in Africa. It's small. It's ridiculous.
Right. It's crazy.
Go ahead.
In those days, many wives were considered
just like the piano keys. You went over that a long time ago.
Yes, sir.
When the piano keys were originally black and the small keys were white. Then the white man came along and said, no.
Let's change it
Switch it around, make the big keys white and the small keys black. But the original ancient pianos, we had ours. We had black keys and white, or black larger keys You guys play instruments, man.
All the white keys you see on the piano, they were black.
Right, and
the
and
black keys up top, which is less,
were
they
white.
were white.
Yes, that's the original color of the piano keys. Go ahead. I'm gonna show this called the small keys called. It's called small key, big key. I don't know what that thing is called. Go ahead.
In those days, many wives were considered a necessary adjunct to the king's dignity.
Right. So in those days, many wives were considered a necessary adjunct to the king's dignity. Look up the word adjunct, please. Adjunct. I believe it means attachment. I could be wrong. I'm guessing, but adjunct sounds like it, like a adjunct. Adjunct.
Adjunct.
Let's go down.
A thing added to something else as a supplementary rather than an essential part.
In addition.
And
Right, that's right. Attachment.
Right.
Addition, attachment. Yeah. So a companion. Right. So him being a king, it was customary for a king to have a bunch of wives, pretty much. They were like for show, pretty much. Go back. A king should have a bunch of wives, pretty much. Go ahead. And may I remind you, brothers that are in Israel, you know that this man was a king and he had power and sovereignty, which you don't have. You guys working at Walmart, packing bags, making $8 an hour, so you got 4 wives. You guys are retarded.
checking receipts at the door.
Yeah. Common law, brother. Common law. Yeah. Common law marriage. You know, in common law marriage, it's only found in like 10 states. And you know, within those 10 states, there's rules that you got to live with them wives. You have to provide evidence that those are your wives, too, by living with them. So if your wife is living in New Orleans and you're in Chicago, they don't accept that as a common law marriage. It's not accepted as a common law marriage. So you got to stop with this common law stuff because I've been researching it thoroughly, and it's not working in your favor. That argument, that common law stuff is not working in your favor. Just want to put that out there real quick. Necessary adjunct to the king's dignity. Go ahead.
David had about 16 wives, but this was an insignificant number.
Right, David had 16 wives. Go ahead.
As compared with that of the kings of Egypt and Phoenicia.
Right, so David didn't have as many wives as you would see as a pharaoh or the Canaanites would have. Go ahead.
Whom Solomon had taken for his pattern.
So Solomon took after the Egyptians and the Canaanites, who had a whole bunch of women, multiplicity of women. Go ahead.
It was only in compliance with this common but corrupt practice that.
Oh, wait. It was only in compliance with this common but what?
Corrupt practice.
See that? It was common but corrupt practice. Corrupt practice, because it was not to be done. You're not supposed to do that. Go ahead. So many. Go ahead.
That Solomon formed an immense harem.
Yeah, an immense bunch of females. A harem is a whole bunch of women. Go ahead.
His first wife was Naamah, the beautiful and Ammonite princess. He also had other wives from the Moabite and Aramean courts.
Assyria. Go ahead.
And even from those of the Hittite and Canaanite kings.
Sidonians.
But what most gratified his pride was that the Egyptian king Susanes gave him his daughter in marriage. Solomon thought that in acting thus, he had taken a wise step.
Right, because this is a political move. Him taking a wife of Pharaoh. Most of these wives Solomon took were for political reasons, to establish a alliance with these kings. That's what they would do. Go ahead.
And that his country and his dynasty would be benefited by the alliance.
Right, because we got a lot of things from Egypt. Go ahead.
But the result proved the contrary.
It didn't work out the way he thought it was supposed to work out. Go ahead.
The daughter of Susanes was naturally received with every mark of attention in the Israelitish capital. She became the first queen in Solomon's harem.
That's why I mentioned her first in 1 Kings 11. Go ahead.
But it seemed to him a disgrace that he could not place a magnificent palace at the disposal of this queen. What was the cedar palace built by David on Mount Zion when compared with the gigantic edifices and the labyrinthine palaces of the kings of Egypt? Solomon therefore determined to build a palace worthy of her.
Oh, God. Solomon's turning into a simp. Go ahead.
Through the alliance with Egypt, innovations of great consequence were made in Israel. Among them, the introduction of horses and chariots.
Right, because we dealt with trade with the Egyptians. Go ahead.
Solomon also entered into close and friendly
connection
with Hiram, king of Tyre.
King of Tyre, right.
Tyre, with whom David had already established a neighborly intimacy.
Right.
He appears to have married a daughter of Hiram too. And this close bond between Solomon and Hiram seems to have led to important and extensive undertakings.
Right. Traveling to America, traveling to India. These two were responsible for building the ships to do so. Solomon's men, we traveled over here. That was our thing. Hiram and them traveled, and we shared the Pacific Ocean. We shared that, but we sailed over here under Solomon's fleet. That's how we got over here the first time. Go ahead.
The establishment of a large harem demanded an immense body of servants.
Mm-hmm.
Solomon maintained
So Solomon having all these women required him to have servants to take care of these women. Go ahead.
Solomon maintained a most brilliant court. The ambassadors of tributary and friendly powers had to be received with great pomp. For Solomon laid great stress on the display of splendor.
Stop. So the ambassadors of tributary and friendly powers, meaning people, tax collectors. Solomon's building all these things for these women at the expense of who? The people. Because the king's job is to serve the people. The king is taken care of by who? The people. So now the people are taking care of the king, and they're taking care of the king and his wives, and their temples, and the temple, and their houses, and his house. So Solomon got stupid. That's why I said don't take so many wives, because it'll be at the expense of the people.
Right.
That's what happened. And Solomon did not care. It says the ambassadors of tributary and friendly powers had to be received with great pomp. For Solomon laid great stress on the display of splendor. He wanted to make sure everything and everyone looked good. And that was costly. Go ahead.
The ambassadors of tributary and friendly powers had to be received with great pomp. For Solomon laid great stress on the display of splendor. And the maintenance of his court demanded the expenditure of large sums of money.
It was expensive, like I said. Go ahead.
As he could not otherwise obtain means, the royal house not having extensive estates in its own right, the people had to defray his enormous expenses.
See? The people had to defray his enormous expenses. I mean, he had to raise taxes. He put levies on the people because he was trying to maintain an expensive lifestyle. He was already powerful and rich, but he needed more money because he had more women. Go ahead.
The whole land was divided into 12 parts, and a governor was placed over each division to see that the inhabitants contribute 1 month's provisions every year.
Damn. Go ahead.
The purpose of this division seems to have been that the old system of tribal organization might cease. A superior or vizier, whose duty it was to see that the tribute of natural products was sent in regularly, was appointed over these 12 officials.
Right. Go ahead.
Solomon displayed heightened grandeur in his buildings. Grandeur in his buildings. He was anxious.
So when Solomon built things, it looked good. When we built things, it looked real good. It was expensive, but it looked nice. So it's like we can't begin to imagine how it looked, but we know it was expensive and gorgeous. It was beautiful. Okay? You know, it's Judah, man. That's how we do, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what Judah. I'm sorry, it's my time. It's our time now.
Listen. It's your time all the time, brother.
No.
I know that.
Yeah,
I know that, brother.
Oh, praise the
It's
Lord.
your time all the time.
Well, we don't talk about Gad much. I don't want to talk about.
Let's get back to the.
He don't want to be called Gad anymore. He's He's Dag.
We don't mention-
Let's put it backwards. Dag.
Yeah.
All right. Let's read on. Read on.
But yeah, like I was saying, man, Judah, man, we go all out, bro. I mean, we go broke in the process. But we look good. We look good and broke. We look good when we're broke. When we look good, we got the money in our pocket.
Yeah, that's
You see freaking phone posits and freaking expensive ass pants and can't pay rent. All praise, yeah.
Balling on E.
Balling on E, right. Exactly. Just ride a bike, until you get the next paycheck. With Solomon, again, Solomon was flossing. Solomon had all his women, he had all his money. He's flossing, basically. Go ahead.
It's in your DNA, huh?
Pretty much. Go ahead.
Oh, praise.
He was anxious in the first instance to raise a splendid temple to the God of Israel in the capital of his country.
Right.
It could not be a matter of indifference to him that in the neighboring lands of Egypt and Phoenicia, with the rulers of which he was intimately acquainted,
Because he married their daughters. Go ahead.
gigantic temples were raised for the various gods.
There we go. See?
Whilst in his country, the sanctuary was merely placed in a tent.
See that?
The hell is this?
Oh, man. Go ahead.
Solomon therefore immediately after his accession to the throne made preparations for commencing the erection of a sacred edifice. the site was already chosen. It was to be on Mount Moriah, to the northeast of the city, where David had raised an altar after the pestilence had ceased.
Right. Go ahead.
Silver and gold had been collected for the purpose, but building materials, stones, and cedar wood still had to be procured. Free stones and blocks had to be hewn from the rocks in the quarries north of Jerusalem.
Right, because remember chapters ago, we went into how we basically employed those heathens you read earlier, the Canaanites and so forth. They were good stone hewers. They hewed stone with perfection. They were expert stone hewers. And they cut the stone so well that basically it's like a puzzle. You could put the stones together. You didn't need no nails.
Right. The interlock.
Right, the interlock. Right. Interlock. So I forgot the term it's called though. There's a term for that.
Welding?
No.
There's a term for that, and I forgot what it's called. We went over it like chapters ago. Huh?
Dove something.
Dovetailing. Dovetailing.
Yes.
Dovetailing is when you put something together without any nails.
He's going to say it. It's actually going to come up.
Go ahead, let's go.
Free stones and blocks had to be hewn from the rocks in the quarries north of Jerusalem, where they were so dovetailed as to be easily joined after reaching the spot.
Right, so they would cut them in a way where the stones are brought together. You just put the pieces, just build it piece by piece. They were dovetailed as to be easily joined after reaching the spot. Go ahead.
But whence procured workmen for this troublesome business of hewing, preparing and conveying the stone.
So who came with who are the workers? He's asking. Go ahead.
Solomon had learned from Pharaoh Sosthenes, his father-in-law, the means of obtaining workmen without incurring heavy expense. He employed the remnant of the Canaanite population still living in the country.
There you go. Go ahead. His people. I got an idea. I know what you could do. You got slaves, right? So it was like, yeah, use them. Use the Canaanites. Use them. Go ahead. They're good at that stuff. Go ahead.
Although Saul had begun to decrease their numbers, he could not proceed against them with his full strength.
He went the hell off. Go ahead.
On account of his continual strife with
Because
David.
he hated David. He even had time to focus on killing them.
That's crazy.
So he had time. Go ahead.
David had left them undisturbed so that they lived quietly, mixed peaceably with the Israelites, and served the king faithfully in his wars against the Philistines and other nations. Solomon, on the contrary, declared the remnant of the Ammonites, Hittites, Perizzites, and Hivites, as well as the Jebusites, whom David had permitted to live in the outskirts of Jerusalem, to be bondmen.
Slaves.
And compelled them to perform the hardest labor.
And compelled them to do what?
And compelled them to perform the hardest labor.
You know what compel means. It means force.
Force them.
They
Rigor.
didn't ask.
Rigor.
They were commanded them to perform the hardest labor. And that's going to be, and it will be so again. It will happen again. Go ahead.
They numbered 150,000 youths.
Oh, young people, young boys. Go ahead.
And able-bodied men.
And grown men too. Go ahead.
And comprised the working class. More than 3,000 Israelite superintendents kept the enslaved natives to their work.
See, we were the bosses. We didn't do the work. We oversaw the work. Go ahead.
A superior officer, Adoniram, watched over the superintendents and the workmen. 80,000 of these unhappy beings worked in the stone quarries day and
80,000
night.
of these unhappy beings. This sound like us, don't it?
Yep.
80,000 of these unhappy beings worked in the stone quarries day and night by the light of lamps. Oh. Go ahead.
They were under the direction of a man from Giblum, who understood the art of hewing heavy blocks from the rocks and of giving the edges the necessary shape for dovetailing. 20,000 slaves removed the heavy blocks from the mouth of the quarry and carried them to the building site.
See? So that's how built the temple. He then built it. And they're going to build the kingdom again.
Isaiah 14 right there.
Isaiah 14, Isaiah 60 verse 10, they're going to do it again. So let's go to 1 Kings 11 verse 11 now.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 11, verse 11. Wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, for as much as this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee, and will give it to thy servant. Notwithstanding, in thy days I would not do it for David thy father's sake, but I will rend it out of the hand of thy son. Howbeit, I would not rend away all the kingdom, but will give one tribe to thy son for David, my servant's sake.
Benjamin, go ahead.
And for Jerusalem's sake, which I have chosen. And the Lord stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. he was of the king's seed in Edom. For it came to pass when David was in Edom, and Joab, the captain of the host, was gone up to bury the slain, as he had smitten every male in Edom. For 6 months did Joab remain there with all Israel until he had cut off every male in Edom.
He tried to kill Edom off, but we never could. Go ahead.
Then Hadad fled, he and certain Edomites of his father's servants with him,
He and certain Edomites, he didn't kill them all. So there remained some. Go ahead.
to go into
Of this particular group of Edomites. Go ahead.
to go into Egypt, Hadad being yet a little child. And they arose out of Midian and came to Paran.
All right, jump to verse 26.
Verse 26. And Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, an Ephrathite of Zeretta, Solomon's servant, whose mother's name was Zeruiah, a widow woman, even he lifted up his hand against the king. And this was
Even he what?
Even he lifted up his hand against the king.
So Jeroboam was Solomon's servant. He tried to conspire to get Solomon killed. Read on.
And this was the cause that he lifted up his hand against the king.
This right here is going to explain why he sought to kill Solomon. Go ahead.
Solomon built Milo and repaired the
Milo,
and repaired the breaches of the city of David his father. And the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor. And Solomon, seeing a young man that he was industrious, he made him ruler over all the charge of the house of Joseph. And it came to pass at that time, when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, that the prophet Ahijah the Shilonite found him in the way, and he had clad himself with a new garment, and they two were alone in the field. And Ahijah caught the new garment that was on him and rent it in 12 pieces. And he said to Jeroboam, take thee 10 pieces, for thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and I will give 10 tribes to thee. But he shall have one tribe for my servant David's sake,
Benjamin.
and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, because that they have forsaken me and have worshipped Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Sidonians, Shamash, the god of the Moabites, Milcom, the god of the children of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways to do that which is right in my eyes, to keep my statutes and my judgments, as did David his father.
Right, because Solomon introduced that nonsense. Remember, he built those churches for them. So, and he built those places, those sanctuaries for them. Israel started going the hell off. Go ahead.
Howbeit, I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I will make him prince. I will make him prince all the days of his life for David my servant's sake, whom I chose, because he kept my commandments and my statutes. But I will take the kingdom out of his son's hand,
Rehoboam. Go ahead.
and will give it unto thee, even 10 tribes.
If you include Dan, that's 10. Go ahead.
And unto his son will I give one tribe,
Benjamin.
that David my servant may have a light always before me in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen me to put my name there.
Go ahead. What verse is that?
36.
Hold on. Read on to 39.
Verse 37. And I will take thee, and thou shalt reign according to all that thou soul desireth, and shalt be king over Israel. And it shall be, if thou wilt hearken unto all that I commanded thee, and wilt walk in my ways, and do that is right in my sight, to keep my statutes and my commandments, as David my servant did, that I will be with thee and build thee a sure house, as I built for David, and will give Israel unto thee. And I will for this afflict the seed of David, but not forever. That's 39D.
Okay, so basically, a prophet came, took Jeroboam's new raiment, ripped it from him, ripped it in 10 pieces, and said, "These 10 tribes will be yours. If you include Dan, the 10 will be yours. I will leave a tribe with Judah. Of course, will stay with Solomon, and of course, the other tribe will be Benjamin. They'll stay with him. That'll be the 12. They'll stay with him." So Jeroboam was told by a prophet that the kingdom will be ripped from Solomon and given to him. Jeroboam, being a dumbass, he thought he can kill Solomon and take it faster. So it says he lifted up his hand against the king. Here's the reason why. And it explains that prophet came and told him he's going to be king over Israel instead of Solomon. So, who stopped that? 39? Let's go to History of the Jews again. Page 174 to 75. We're going to end at recognize thee as their king.
I'm sorry, what page again?
We're at page 174 and 175 of History of the Jews. So basically Solomon went the hell off. The Lord got pissed off and said, okay, I'm going to split the kingdom now. I'm going to split the kingdom. I'm going to leave Judah and Benjamin with Judah, and I'm going to give you the 10. If you include Dan, I'll give you the 10. All right? Read this here. Solomon's brilliant rule.
Solomon's brilliant rule, however, became the source of a serious division between the tribes.
So Solomon's source of serious division, Solomon's brilliant rule became the what?
Solomon's brilliant rule, however, became the source of a serious division between the tribes, which he had unavailing striven to consolidate into one indissoluble whole.
Right, so Solomon had trouble uniting all the tribes together. Go ahead.
Notwithstanding that the temple formed a bond of union for the whole people, and that Solomon tried to abolish the tribal isolation which prevailed.
So there was so you had tribalism among us. And the only time we really came together is to go at the temple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have Judah.
Huh? Tribalism? Huh?
Yeah.
All right,
It's real. You're being disruptive. I'm being disruptive. Continue.
Tribal isolation which prevailed. He succeeded only in the case of Benjamin, which became more closely united with Judah.
See, so Benjamin and Judah is always close together. It's like the Panthers, always close. Judah and Benjamin. Go ahead.
This was owing to the fact that the temple was built on Benjamite territory, and consequently several Benjamite families settled in the capital. Probably Solomon also preferred the tribe of Benjamin and his own ancestral tribe to the other tribes. The mutual dislike of the houses of Israel and Judah, or the northern and southern tribes, had not ceased.
The beef didn't stop. We always had beef among us. Go ahead.
Among the northern tribes, a deep spite, the prosperity to which he had raised them.
No. Among the southern tribes, a deep sense of discontent.
Oh, wow. Among the northern tribes, a deep sense of discontent prevailed against Solomon, despite the prosperity to which he had raised them.
So despite Solomon looking out for the tribes of Israel, Israel had a problem with Solomon being the king.
The hell is this?
So Ephraim, man, y'all, I'll be quiet. Go ahead, continue.
They resented the pressure put upon them to forward regular supplies for the court and to perform compulsory service in the erection of public buildings.
They didn't like the fact that Solomon had them paying taxes for all these things. Go ahead.
Their discontent was not expressed aloud.
They didn't say it loud. Go ahead.
But it needed only an occasion for it to vent itself. Wise as Solomon was, he had not sufficient foresight to perceive that his faults were sure to weaken the future security of the state.
Right, the fault was the heathen women he liked. Go ahead.
Amongst the officials whom Solomon employed to supervise the buildings was an Ephraimite, who was clever, courageous, and ambitious.
Industrious. Go ahead.
This was Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, from the town of Zaretta, or Zorathan, on the other side of the Jordan. He was the son of a widow, thus free from paternal restraint.
Free from what?
Paternal restraint.
He was the son of a widow, meaning he had no father figure. He was the son of a widow, thus free from paternal restraint, meaning he had no father to check him. Go ahead.
He could follow out his own impulses uncontrolled.
Because he had no daddy.
Emotional.
He had no father. So he was able to do what? Follow his impulses uncontrolled. That's why you need a father in the house. That's Negroes today that act on impulses uncontrollably. That's the Negro today, the black man and woman today. Go ahead.
Hey, real quick, D.
Yeah.
And being that that's the Negro today,
and Negress too.
That can change. You don't have to be a bastard because now you have spiritual fathers. You have counselors in this truth. So you can choose to be a bastard, but you don't have to. You know, that's what we're seeing right here.
That
Jeroboam had supervised the erection of the walls of Jerusalem and had displayed great skill and firmness in managing the bondmen. Solomon was, in fact, so well pleased with him that he bestowed on him a high position. In the territory of Ephraim and Manasseh. Here, Jeroboam had the opportunity of becoming acquainted with the discontent of the people, which was probably strongest amongst the ever discontented Ephraimites.
See, so Jeroboam exploited the beef between Judah and Ephraim. Go ahead.
The popular feeling accorded well with his ambitious plans, and he decided to utilize it when a favorable opportunity should occur. Solomon was guilty of the folly of permitting sacrificial altars to be built for various idols.
His wives.
It may have been his foreign wives who induced him to make his concession. Or perhaps it was due to the foreigners. the Phoenicians, and other races who had taken up their residence in Jerusalem.
And other what? Races. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Other races who had taken up their residence in Jerusalem and had received permission to worship their gods in the land of Israel according to their custom. However, this may have been altars. This may have been altars were raised on the high northern point of the Mount of Olives in honor of Astarte of the Zidonians,
That's Easter.
Milcom of the Ammonites, Chemosh of the Moabites, and other idols. The religious convictions of the nations were not so deeply rooted that the people could witness all kinds of idolatrous practices without falling into the errors of idol worship themselves.
Right. Solomon introduced madness. Solomon introduced madness into the kingdom for his women. Go ahead.
A prophet, Ahijah of Shiloh, had the courage to reprimand the king and to warn him of the danger which his conduct rendered imminent. Solomon, however, seems to have given little heed to his representations, and the prophet, indignant at the king's obtuseness, determined to use Jeroboam, whose ambitious schemes he had probably divined, as the instrument of Solomon's destruction. When Jeroboam left Jerusalem, the prophet approached him, seized his garment, tore it into 12 pieces, and handed him 10 of them. He said, "Take these 10 pieces. They portray the 10 tribes, which will separate themselves from the house of David and recognize thee as their king."
See, that's what we just read earlier. Okay? So when he saw that, he tried to plot and have Solomon killed. Okay? He moved in haste. Now, get 1 Kings 11:40. 1 Kings 11:40 to 43.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 11, verse 40. Solomon sought therefore to kill Jeroboam, and Jeroboam arose and fled into Egypt, unto Shishak, king of Egypt, and was in Egypt unto the death of Solomon.
Why did Solomon seek to kill him? Because he tried to kill him first. When you go back to verse 27, it says, "And this was the cause that he lifted up his hand against the king, because Ahijah told me he's going to be king." So he tried to be hasty and kill Solomon. Solomon, "I'm going to kill you. You try to kill me. I'm going to kill you first." And he ran to Egypt while Solomon was old. Go ahead.
And the rest of the acts of Solomon, all that he did, and his wisdom, are they not written in the book of the acts of Solomon? And the time that Solomon reigned in Jerusalem over all Israel was 40 years. And Solomon slept with his fathers and was buried in the city of David his father. And Rehoboam his son reigned in his stead.
Right. Jump to chapter 12 now, verse 1.
1 Kings chapter 12, verse 1. And Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel were come to Shechem to make him king. And it came to pass, when Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he was fled from the presence of King Solomon, and Jeroboam dwelt in Egypt, that they sent and called him, and Jeroboam and all the congregation of Israel came and spake unto Rehoboam, saying, Thy father made our yoke grievous. Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father, and his heavy yoke which he had put upon us, lighter, and we will serve thee.
What is the yoke? The yoke is the taxing that he put on the people for the financing of his wives and their temples and their sanctuaries. Solomon put heavy levies or tributes on the people. So they said, listen, man, take that Solomon put on us, take it off and we'll serve you. Make things easier and we'll serve you. Go ahead.
And he said unto them, Depart yet for 3 days, then come again to me. And the people departed.
So give me 3 days, I'll think about it. Go ahead. Give me 3 days, I'll think it over. Go ahead.
And King Rehoboam consulted with the old men that stood before Solomon his father.
So Rehoboam went to the ancient men who were Solomon's counselors to ask advice of them, which is a right thing to do as a king. He had advisors who had experience and wisdom and age that were under Solomon. But go ahead.
And King Rehoboam consulted with the old men that stood before Solomon his father while he yet lived, and said, How do you advise that I may answer this people? And they spake unto him, saying, If thou wilt be a servant unto this people this day, and will serve them, and answer them, and speak good words to them, then they will be thy servants forever. But he forsook the counsel of the old men.
Oh, gosh.
Which
Go ahead.
which they had given him, and consulted with the young men that were grown up with him, and which stood before
The
him.
dude went to his boys. He ignored his elders and went to his boys he grew up with from the streets. Yeah, not streets, but you get my point. So now, why did he do that? Hold that. Give me Ciroc real quick. Why did he do that? Something so stupid. Why? Sirach, Ecclesiasticus,
About 40s.
yeah, hold on. 1 second. 47. Hold on a second. One second.
123D.
Yeah, verse 13, then 20. Yeah, verse 13 down to 20. Hold on. Yep, verse 13, and then 19 and 20. And then we're going to jump to 23, yes.
The book of Sirach, chapter 47, verse 13. Solomon reigned in a peaceable time and was honored, for God made all quiet round about him, that he might build an house in his name and prepare a sanctuary forever.
Right, the temple. Jump down to verse 19. Watch what he does.
Verse 19. Thou didst bow thy loins unto women.
He what?
Thou didst bow thy loins to women.
Thou didst bow thy loins unto him. He made himself subject to his women. Go ahead.
And by thy body thou wast brought into
He
subjection.
became a simp under his women. Go ahead.
Thou didst stain thy honor and pollute thy seed, so that thou broughtest wrath upon thy children, and was grieved for thy father.
He made a mistake. He wrote that grievance in Proverbs 5, 7, and Ecclesiastes. He wrote down all his vanity. Vanity is vanities. He wrote down his regrets in Ecclesiastes. He wrote down his regrets and advice not to follow his footsteps in those things in Proverbs 5 and Proverbs 7. Okay? And with his mom, from what we understand, in Proverbs 31. Okay? Go ahead.
So the kingdom was divided, and out of Ephraim ruled a rebellious kingdom.
Right, go ahead.
But the Lord will never leave off his mercy, neither shall any of his works perish. Neither will he abolish the posterity of his elect, and the seed of him that loveth him he will not take away. Wherefore he gave a remnant unto Jacob, and out of him a root unto David.
23, watch this.
Thus rested Solomon with his fathers, and of his seed he left behind him Rehoboam, even the foolishness of the people, and one that had no understanding.
Rehoboam was a moron. Rehoboam was an idiot. That's why he didn't listen to the elders. He was stupid as hell. Stupid and young. Go ahead.
Who turned away the people through his counsel. There was also Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who caused Israel to sin, and showed Ephraim the way of sin.
Stop there. Let's go back. 12 and 1. 1 Kings.
1 Kings chapter 12, verse 1.
So Rehoboam was the foolishness of the people. That's what he's called.
Verse 9. And he said unto them, What counsel give ye that we may answer this people, who have spoken to me, saying, Make the yoke which thy father did put upon us lighter? And the young men that were grown up with him spake unto him, saying, Thus shalt thou speak unto this people, that they spake unto thee, saying, Thy father made our yoke heavy, but make thou it lighter unto us. Thus shalt thou say unto them, My little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins.
Yo. That's mad offensive, man. He said, man, listen, man, you think my father was packing? My finger's gonna be bigger than him. Well, I'm gonna do worse to you than he did.
Bruh.
Basically, his friends told him to flex on the people. His friends told him, yo, man, listen, you the king now, man. Well, don't let them give you orders. You flex. You tell him, listen, man, my pinky bigger than my father's loins, man. My father walked around singing around, but my pinky is bigger than that. I'm going to be bigger and better than my father. So he said, I'm going to be bigger and better than my father's, what he's saying, so to speak. I run things. I'm going to do me. I'm going to do what I want to do. This is the counsel of his stupid-ass friends. Not the elders that said, listen, move the taxes from the people. They'll serve you forever. Right. He's like, no, listen to our young friends. See, idiot. Go ahead.
Verse 11, And now whereas my father did lay you with a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father have chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions.
I'm the king. My father was hard on you. My father was hard on you. I'm going to be harder on you. And all this for no reason. His friends just told him this nonsense and he wouldn't fall behind it because he was an idiot. Go ahead.
So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam the third day, as the king had appointed.
Jeroboam came with them. Go ahead.
Saying, Come to me again the third day. And the king answered the people roughly and forsook the old men's counsel that they gave him, and spake to them after the counsel of the young men, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, and I will add to your yoke My father also chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. Wherefore the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was from the Lord.
See why? So Rehoboam being made the king, and simple as he was, the Lord set it up that way. The Lord set it up where a foolish king will rule over us, so he made this mistake, because this was of the Lord. This whole thing here was of the Lord, by design. Go ahead.
That he might perform his saying, which the Lord spake by Ahijah the Shilonite unto Jeroboam the son of Nebat.
Because if this didn't happen, then Ahijah the Shilonite would be a false prophet. He said the kingdom will be given to you, Jeroboam. So this had to take place. Okay, go ahead.
So when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them, the people answered the king, saying, What portion have we in David?
All right, word. So no problem. So the hell basically what they said was F you. F Judah. Go ahead.
The hell is this?
What portion have we in David? Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse.
We ain't messing with y'all. Y'all do you, we gonna do us. Go ahead.
To your tents, O Israel.
Israel, we out. Let's dip. We out of here. Go ahead.
Now see to thy own house, David.
Judah, you deal with your own tribe. We gonna do us. You do you. Go ahead.
So Israel departed unto their tents.
Right. So that right here, this right here marks the splitting of the 12 tribes.
Right.
Verse 16 is the split of the 12. Now, you read verse 15 again.
Verse 15. Wherefore the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was from the Lord, that he might perform his saying.
Stop. For the cause is from the Lord. People don't understand that this cause right here is the beginning of the New Testament. This verse right here is a whole explanation of the New Testament. Jews and Gentiles.
Damn, you hit him with something deep.
That's what you don't understand. That's why this is of the Lord. This split right here marks the begin is the inception of the mission of the disciples.
Wow.
This verse here. That's why it's written there. The whole New Testament is based upon the splitting and the reuniting of the 12. That's what it's for. Because the 12 tribes never came back together again after this. Never came back together again. Babylon, nope. Persia, nope. Greece, Rome, nope. They're not come back together. They ain't still together yet. Still divided.
Right.
You got these fake bastard Israelis over there. Oh, we don't know what these tribes are. We don't know what they are. The lust. The lust. Where they at, nigga? Where they at? Oh, the lust, they mixed around. You don't know. So even the fake ones is like, well, we're still divided. Exactly. That proves you guys don't belong in the land then. Because according to prophecy, all 12 will be in the land. Not 3.
Living peaceably.
Living peaceably. They won't need America's missiles and military and having all these sodomite parades over there either. Right. Or licking on baby penises. They'll be doing that over there either.
Damn.
Passing herpes around on Caucasian baby balls.
Oh my God.
Where we at?
Oh man. Verse 17.
Jump to verse 23.
Verse 23. But the word of God came unto Shemaiah, the man of, speak unto Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and unto all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying.
Because Rehoboam was going to try to force Northern Kingdom to return back under his rule. Because they set Jeroboam over them. They set up Jeroboam as their king. Matter of fact, let's go back. Where we at?
That was 23.
23, right? No. Go back to verse 17. Go to verse 17.
Verse 17. But as for the children of Israel which dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them.
Right, like for example, Simeon resided in the land of Judah. So Rehoboam reigned over the northern kingdom that shared the land with Judah. He had to. And those who did not share land with Judah, Jeroboam reigned over them. Okay? So jump back to verse 23 now.
Verse 23. Speak unto Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and unto all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people.
No,
saying,
go to verse 20. Go to verse 20. I'm sorry. Go to verse 20.
Verse 20. And it came to pass, when all Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation, and made him king over all Israel. There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Judah
And
only.
of course, Benjamin came after that. Now jump down to verse 23 now. So Jeroboam became king of Israel. Go ahead.
Verse 23. Speak unto Rehoboam the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and unto all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying, Thus saith the Lord, ye shall not go up, nor fight against your brethren, the children of Israel.
Don't fight against them. Don't force them to come back under your rule. Go ahead.
Return every man to his house.
Go home. Leave it alone. Go ahead. Watch this.
For this thing is from me. They hearkened therefore to the word of the Lord, and returned to depart according to the word of the Lord.
Why? Why did God split the 12 tribes up into two? Why? People read that and just bypass it. Why is it from the Lord? Why the Lord caused it to happen? Because this goes back to the mission that was set up later on for the disciples and the apostles to reunite the 12 tribes of Israel, both Jews and Gentiles, Jews and Greeks. That's why he says it's of me. Leave it alone. I'm gonna have them reunite under my son and under the disciples. That's this right here is the mission that the New Testament that starts the New Testament. The 12 tribes being divided and being reunited again. This is the whole introduction to the New Testament. People just bypass it. Yeah, they split in two. Why? Why they split? For what? And when they come back together? When did they brought back together again? They weren't. Because the whole premise of this split is to bring in the Messiah to die on the cross, and his death was to do what? Reunite both kingdoms back together again. Not reunite all nations together or reunite nations grafted in. That's not what it's talking about. People just read the split of the 12 tribes. Even pastors read, the 12 tribes, they split in two and became two kingdoms. Yeah, but why? What was the purpose? For what reason? And where is that explained in the New Testament? Does it explain why the Lord did it? Yes. Romans 11 explains it. Ephesians 2 explains it. It's all the New Testament is the explanation on how to reunite the 12, the split, the division. We read in the book earlier about the beef they had with us. They had beef with Judah back then. Tribalism was going on even during Solomon's time, when all 12 tribes are under him. Ephraim and Judah had beef even before Rehoboam's nonsense. Matter of fact, let's get it real quick. Real quick, go to go to Samuel. 2 Samuel 19:41. I'm gonna show you this goes back even before the split. 2 Samuel 19 verse 41.
Book of 2 Samuel, chapter 19, verse 41. And behold, all the men of Israel came to the king and said unto the king, Why have our brethren, the men of Judah, stolen thee away, and have brought the king and his household and all David's men with him over Jordan?
Right, so Israel's asking, why did they take you away from us, David? Watch this. This is Israel asking about David because David became king now. Saul's gone and saying, why did Judah, southern kingdom, take you away from us? Watch this.
And all the men of Judah answered the men of Israel.
So wait, read again.
And all the men of Judah answered the men of Israel.
So see that how it's divided in this verse? The men of Judah answered the men of Israel. They're all Israel, but it's giving a distinction here. Go ahead.
Because the king is near of kin to us.
Because we're Judah and so is he. So he comes with us. Watch this.
Wherefore, then be ye angry for this matter.
What you mad for? Why you mad at us for that? David's Judah, we're Judah, he's coming with us. Go ahead.
Have we eaten at all of the king's cost? Or have he given us any gift?
Well, are we just using him? Go ahead.
And the men of Israel answered the men of Judah and said, We have 10 parts in the king.
Remember that? Because remember, Ahijah tore what? Jeroboam's coat into 12 pieces and gave him what? 10. Gave him the 10 parts. So they're saying, listen, you going with David? But there's more of us than you. Just like now. Remember, Esau says that in a few years, the so-called Hispanics will be the majority. But they're already the majority.
Right.
Ephraim has always been larger than Judah. Read again.
And the men of Israel answered the men of Judah and said, We have 10 parts in the king.
Listen, he has more people to rule over than y'all, than just you. He has 10 parts to rule over. Go ahead.
And we have also more right in David than ye.
And we have more land than you too. It's more of us than you. We have more right of him to rule over us than him to rule over you or stay here with you. He should be over there with us. Go ahead.
Why then do ye despise us?
Why you hate us? Go ahead.
That our advice should not be first had in bringing back our king. And the words of the men of Judah were fiercer than the words of the men of
And
Israel.
Judah cursed Ephraim out. It's crazy is that Judah was outnumbered by Ephraim, but their words were more fierce than Israel is. More fierce. That's what the Lord said. Give me Deuteronomy 33. This is what. Watch. That's what the Lord said. I'm gonna raise Judah first, because despite Ephraim being larger than Judah, Judah is the fiercest in terms of the teaching, in terms of the mission. They're more fierce. Their words are more fierce, more powerful. There's a reason behind it. Even in the world, Malcolm X is way more fierce than the Young Lords. The Black Panthers are way more fierce than the Young Lords.
Right.
Way more. Marcus Garvey was had more force than AIM, the American Indian movement. Judah just has that spirit about it. Marcus Garvey was Benjamin. But my point is that the southern tribes are more fierce than northern. This is what it is. Read out what you got.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 33, verse 7. And this is the blessing of Judah. And he said, Hear, Lord, the voice of Judah, and bring him unto his people.
That's how if you notice. If you notice, I'm gonna offend some of y'all. The so-called Hispanics, right, who hang around Judah, they teach better. They're more different. The ones who's from the islands, their spirit's different. It's not like over here. Like brothers, like for example, Simeon, like Captain Zeph. Captain Zeph, the way he teaches is different from how brothers teach who are from the islands over there. It's different because he's around Judah. Captain Ephraim, the same thing. Captain Joshua, the same thing. The tribe, I noticed that whenever you have so-called Hispanics that hang around blacks, they're more themselves. The ones that be in the islands, oh no, mi no negro, oh no sucio, yeah.
Right.
Mi no negro, no, mi no blanco, blanco. Freaking retarded, nunca, no. They be black, they be freaking darker than everyone, they be darker than this damn tablecloth here.
Right.
No, I'm blanco.
No.
That's the black, yeah, no. Nunca. Never. Them you I call them island niggas. You island niggas, y'all all confused. But the ones that be around Judah, they have more loyal to themselves. Like, oh yeah, you can tell. Even in the world, like actors or actresses, when they're around like Judah, they stay true to their roots. They don't deny it. Mm-hmm. No matter how light they are, no matter how pale their skin is, they're like, yo, what's up? Yo, look. Because they know it's the spiritual, and they know who they are. But the ones in the islands over there who got that blanqueamiento, the whitening, your brain, the mejorar la raza. Improve the race, mejorar la raza, yes, improve the race. White people. Y'all niggas, island niggas, y'all all retarded and confused. The ones that be around us, around Judah, they're more like, yeah, I'm a nigga too, I know. They're not confused. Mejorar. Improve the race. Marry the white people. Y'all niggas is retarded. Y'all gonna burn over here in America. A lot of y'all gonna burn. The ones that be around Judah, they're like, yeah, I'm a nigga too. I speak Spanish. Me habla español, but I me negro. But some of y'all be on the island say, "Did you black like this?"
Yeah.
You a nigga too, man. Yeah, but you black like this.
Yeah.
That's y'all.
Can't make this up, man.
Man.
Why the cat always in the bread? Why the cat always in the bread in the deli, man? Why?
You don't like it, go to another store.
You don't like it? You want $5?
Oh, man.
Yeah, but Judah's words are more fierce. That's why most of the time when Ephraim spends their time around Judah, their teaching is a bit more fierce, is more powerful, more impactful, because the Lord raised up. There you go. The Lord raised up Judah first.
That's right.
That fierceness. All that just Ephraim, all the tribes. Levi too.
Yep.
I'll bring y'all in there. See, I'm working up my way around you.
Yeah.
Levi too. Benjamin too. When they're around Judah, it's a different spirit. It's a spirit. It's more provoking. They provoke more. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. More, they're more
I would-
influenced. Like the influence is stronger.
I would say tapping into the source, Deke. You can't go. You can't break the scriptures. We have to follow Judah.
Right.
There's no way around it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when you tap into the source, of course, your energy heightens. Your energy improves.
Right. And of course, the Messiah is Judah, of course. So, that's the source as well. Everything's Judah. Everybody comes from Judah, really. But the point is that tribe is the most impactful and the most fiercest, especially when it comes to the mission of the Lord, the teaching, and how they bring the word out. And that's why whenever the other tribes are around them, they take on that spirit and they go to the islands over there and they blast and they're fierce.
Right.
Understand? So now, let's go back to where we at. 1 Kings 12 and... So I was showing that scripture right there to show that beef of men of Judah and Israel was around even during the time when David was anointed as king. And that's that beef, that rivalry, that issue was always there. Up even till David's death and then Solomon reigned, the beef was still there. So that book that we brought out, History of the Jews, is pretty accurate so far. In terms of the tribalism and the division and the rivalry, it's definitely factual according to the scriptures. Bible is always the main source. That's why I read that book. Otherwise, I would have skipped that page. But it goes with this as well. What time is it? Oh, 2:30. All right, good. Making good time. Let's go to 1 Kings again. 1 Kings 12. Where we stop at? I'm sorry. I sidebar for a minute. Making fun of Ephraim. I think they're white. I'm making fun of y'all. I'm sorry. I get carried away with that sometimes, but I enjoy it because y'all swear. Y'all swear up and down. Carnally speaking, y'all swear up and down that y'all something else other than Negro. Where we at?
We stopped at 1 Kings 12 and I think 22.
22. Yeah, this thing is for me. 25. We done 25 or 33. We're gonna finish the whole chapter. Go ahead. 25.
Right, verse 25. Then Jeroboam built Shechem and Mount Ephraim and dwelt therein, and went out from thence and built Peniel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, Now shall the kingdom return to the house of David.
Now remember, the prophet Ahijah came to this man, rent his coat, his new garment in 12 pieces, and gave him 10 and said, these 10 parts belong to you. You're going to have the kingdom of Israel, right? This dude did not have no faith. He did not believe it. Remember, we read in that book earlier, he had no paternal guidance. He was reckless and stupid. Jeroboam. Read on.
And Jeroboam said in his heart, Now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their Lord, even unto Rehoboam king of Judah. And they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam king of Judah.
So his thought was, well, we got to come together at some point because we all sacrifice at the same place. I'll say it again. He said his thought was that all Israel would eventually have to go to Rehoboam again because they all sacrifice at the same place. So his fear was if they keep going to worship at the same place, they'll eventually remove him as king, kill him, and go back to Rehoboam. This is his fear. Go ahead.
Verse 28, Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold.
So Jeroboam, Ephraim, here we go. Made 2 calves of gold. Go ahead.
And said unto them, It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem.
Why don't go to the temple? You don't need no temple to worship. It's too far. Don't go over there. Go ahead.
Behold thy gods.
Behold these 2 golden calves here. These are your gods. Go ahead.
O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt.
These are the gods that got us out of Egypt. These gods, golden calves. Go ahead.
And he set the one in Bethel, and the other put he in Dan. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan.
Now, give me a second. There's a name for the calf. I'm trying to see if I have it written down. I wrote it down years ago in my Bible. I hope I wrote it down in here. Let me see if I have it. Where is it when Aaron makes the golden calf?
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that. What is there a comparison,
it's
a
the same
contrast
thing.
to that?
It's the same thing.
I mean? So even though they were
Apis.
apart,
Apis, the bull god of Egypt. That's what they worship. The golden calf's name is Apis.
so when Aaron did it, they witnessed it too?
No, it was passed down.
See?
They retained the stupidness. They retained it.
Yep.
They kept that nonsense. Yeah, it wasn't the God of Israel God out of the Red Sea. It was the Egyptian God that did it. Right. And we retained that stupidness among ourselves. So his name was Apis. Apis, the bull god of Egypt, was the golden calf was in honor of. Apis, A-P-I-S. Go ahead.
And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. And he made an house of high places, and made priests of the lowest of the people,
He made low lives the priests. Go ahead.
which were not of the sons of Levi.
And so he basically fired Levi. He fired them because Levi didn't have no land. They had their land was in each 12. So they got fired.
It's a setup, bro.
Yeah.
It's a setup, bro.
Go ahead.
And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month.
So Jeroboam decided to create his own feast day. His own feast day. Go ahead.
On the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah. And he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calf that he had made.
So what feast day did he make? Leviticus 23. Leviticus 23:33 is what I have. What feast day did he copy and counterfeit? What feast day did this dummy counterfeit? Leviticus 23:33
The book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 33.
to 34.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of this 7th month shall be the feast of tabernacles, for the 7 days unto the Lord. On the first day shall be in holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
So there you go. So he made his own feast of tabernacles. That's what he did. Go back.
The hell is this?
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 12, verse 32.
32.
And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month, on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah. And he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calf that he had made. And he placed in Bethel the priests of the high places which he had made.
Make sure. Hold on a second. This is 8th month. Let me make sure I'm not mixing things up. Give me 1 second. I'm probably give me the wrong freaking precepts. Give me a second. 23. Yeah, he just bootlegged it. Made the 8th month after the 7th month. That's what he did.
So
Let me see. Let me make sure. Hold on.
Well, while Deep looking for that, man, this dude fired Levi, so he had to set up interviews.
Yeah, right.
That's a setup, bro.
he had to put up a job post.
For the bums in
Posting on Indeed and so forth, looking for people, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's go back. He was copying tabernacles. Go ahead.
Northern Kingdom.
Made it 8th month after the 7th month. Go ahead.
And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah. And he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calf that he had made. And he placed in Bethel the priests of the high places which he had made. So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had it devised.
Which he made up.
Of his own heart.
Of his own dumb bird brain. Go ahead.
And ordained a feast unto the children of Israel. And he offered upon the altar and burnt incense.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, let's go to 2 Chronicles 11, verse 14. So he set up the laws to the people. So if he's sacrificing to these idols, what's Levi's purpose then? They ain't got no purpose.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 11, verse 14. For the Levites left their suburbs and their possession and came to Judah and Jerusalem. For Jeroboam and his sons had cast them off from executing the priest's office unto the
He
Lord.
fired them. Go ahead.
And he ordained him priests for the high places.
The lowest of the people, dummies. Go ahead.
And for the devils, and for the calves which he had made. And after them, out of all the tribes of Israel, such as set their hearts to seek the Lord, God of Israel, came to Jerusalem to sacrifice unto the Lord, God of their
So
fathers.
not all of Ephraim went off. Some Ephraim left their suburbs to go and sacrifice in the temple. Not all of Israel went off. Not all of them. And Levi came with Judah also. So now you have 3 tribes rather than 2. You had Judah and Benjamin. Then Levi got kicked out. And so we're going to go over there with Judah and Benjamin then. So now it became 3. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. All right? So that right there is the addition. This right here is the third edition. This right here is the third edition of a tribe joining Southern Kingdom. So you had Judah, Benjamin, and Levi comes after. All right, 'cause I got fired, so
So-
we let you guys in. We felt sorry for y'all.
It's all good, Dick. We posting up.
Yeah, you posting up.
Yeah.
Damn, you
We ain't
posting up.
never leaving.
Yeah, never leave.
We never leave.
Damn. Go to 2 Kings 15.
Tobit, our forefather Tobit was an example of Northern Kingdom that stayed true to the laws. 2 Kings chapter 15,
Verse 1.
Verse 1. In the 7th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, began Azariah, son of Amaziah, king of Judah, to reign. 16 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 52 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jechaliah of Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his father Amaziah had done, save that the high places were not removed. The people sacrificed and burnt incense still on the high places. And the Lord smote the king, so that he was a leper unto the day of his death, and dwelt in several houses.
He dwelt in a separate house. Go ahead.
And Jotham, the king's son, was over the house, judging the people of the land. And the rest of the acts of Azariah and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? So Azariah slept with his fathers, and they buried him with his fathers in the city of David. And Jotham his son reigned in his stead. In the 8th year of Azariah, king of Judah, did Zechariah the son of Jeroboam reign over Israel and Samaria 6 months.
6 months reign. Go ahead.
And he did that.
Azariah was alive. While he was alive, this guy Zechariah was ruling over Israel for 6 months. Go ahead.
And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, as his fathers had done.
How? What did he do?
He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin.
See, that thing became generational. Idol worship, they all followed the same Jeroboam doctrine. Go ahead.
And Shalom, the son of Jabesh, conspired against him and smote him before the people, and slew him and reigned in his stead.
So after 6 months, he got killed by a man named Shalom. Go ahead.
And the rest of the acts of Zechariah, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel. This was the word of the Lord which he spake unto Jehu, saying, Thy son shall sit on the throne of Israel unto the 4th generation. And so it came to pass.
Because Jehu's line replaced Jeroboam's line. Go ahead.
Shalom, the son of Jabesh, began to reign in the 39th year of Uzziah, king of Judah. And he reigned a full month in Samaria.
Full month. Wow.
For Menahem, the son of Gadi, went up from Tirzah, and came to Samaria, and smote Shalom, the son of Jabesh, in Samaria, and slew him, and reigned in his stead.
Oh, God. Northern Kingdom had no good kings. Go ahead.
And the rest of the acts of Shalom and his conspiracy, which he made, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel.
Right. The book of the Kings, the First Kings, Second Kings, that leans more towards the history of Northern Kingdom. That's more Northern Kingdom based. Chronicles is more Judah based. When you read it, when you read it in detail, Chronicles gives more details about Judah's kings, and Kings gives more detail about Israel kings, Northern Kingdom kings. Go ahead.
Then Menahem smote to Tifsa,
Tifsa,
and all that were therein, and the coast thereof from Tirzah, because they opened not to him. Therefore he smote it, and all the women therein that were with child he ripped up.
Damn.
In the 39th year of Azariah, king of Judah, began Menahem, the son of Gadi, to reign over Israel, and reigned 10 years in Samaria. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not all his days from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin.
Let's see who's in Tifsa real quick. Damn. Who's in Tifsa? Let me see something real fast. Yeah, I want to see who's there.
So as you see, Jeroboam was the beginning downfall of Northern Kingdom.
Yep.
All right. So the sins, what he devised and what he set up, Northern Kingdom just followed suit. They just kept that thing going. Just kept following that same sin.
Mm-hmm. It's called Thapsakis in Greek. I'm trying to see who inhabited the area.
So once again, like understanding this history It's I got I'm in love with the anthropology aspect. It's a study of our people, man. We letting Esau study us more than we study ourselves. Then we could know how to deal with our brothers because all this stuff is prophetic. You know what I'm saying? This stuff being prophetic and it's being revealed to us. The hatred we had amongst ourselves, we could read about it, and now we know how to fix it.
Yeah, some heathens are there. I don't know. Some heathens was in there.
Yeah.
He tore their behinds up in there. Wherever they was. They ain't saying where. But let's go back. Some land.
Yes, sir.
Not too far from Carchemish. Go ahead.
Verse 19. And Pul, the king of Assyria, came against the land, and Menahem gave Pul 1,000 talents of silver, that his hand might be with him to confirm the kingdom in his hand. And Menahem exacted the money of Israel, even of all the mighty men of wealth, of each man 50 shekels of silver, to give to the king of Assyria. So the king of Assyria turned back and stayed not there in the land.
The verse is this?
This is verse 20.
Go to verse 19.
Verse 19. And Pul, the king of Assyria.
Here we go. Pul. Pul is Tiglath-Pileser. Pul is Tiglath-Pileser the third. This is the same guy. Tiglath-Pileser the third or Pul. Go ahead.
And Pul, the king of Assyria, came against the land. And Menahem gave Pul 1,000 talents of silver, that his hand might be with him to confirm the kingdom in his hand.
20.
And Menahem exacted the money of Israel, even of all the mighty men of wealth, of each man 50 shekels of silver, to give to the king of Assyria. So the king of Assyria turned back and stayed not there in the land. And the rest of the acts of Menahem and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Menahem slept with his fathers, and Pekahiah, his son, reigned in his stead. In the 50th year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekahiah, the son of Menahem, began to reign over Israel and Samaria, and reigned 2 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin.
Go again, following Jeroboam again. Go ahead.
But Pekah, the son of Remaliah, a captain of his, conspired against him, and smote him in Samaria in the palace of the king's house, with Argob and Ariah, and with him 50 men of the Gileadites. And he killed him and reigned in his room. And the rest of the acts of Pekahiah and all that he did, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel.
So black on black crime. It was just killing each other left and right, left and right, left and right. One king ruled for 1 month, 6 months, 5 months, just get put to death by their own men. There's no loyalty in Northern Kingdom, none whatsoever. Just killing each other back and forth.
And this is before Esau.
This is before the white man came along. This is one before. So we're going to take a quick break for about maybe 5 minutes and we'll be back. All right, so y'all stay tuned. We're going to answer questions briefly for the next, it's the last few minutes of the show, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, so stay tuned. All right, shalom. Shalom Israel, Most High Christ bless. We're not done here at IUIC Philadelphia. You're tuned in to Our Hidden History Radio, where we go into deep understanding and history of who we are, according to the Bible, hidden artifacts, archaeology, the geography, all you can think of that shrouds around our history of the Bible. We go into it in depth. So Israel, like, subscribe, comment on our YouTube channel, Our Hidden History Radio. See you then. Shalom, Most High Christ bless.
Do you know it? Do you know?
144 Thanos. We was snapping till chains broke. Warrior mode like Django. Build a kingdom like Lego. Vanity, vanity, what was all vanity? Lord, give me power to burn out my enemies. Vanity, vanity, what was all vanity? Wisdom like Solomon, fight like the Maccabees. They don't want no smoke, nah, they don't want no smoke. They don't want the smoke, nah, they don't want the smoke. They don't want the smoke, nah, they don't want the smoke. Been about the power, you can call me Ghost.
Yeah, man. Levite sound in the building. Big up yourself. The water is the word. Ephesians 5:26. Them thirsty. And we can see the water arise. So what we supposed to do? Teach them now? All praise to the Most High.
Compré sur de Bible, ali augmenté qu'on y est. On va jouer nous chaque samedi, dans la vie, n'a sauvé vie. Parole de c'est beau d'autorité, qu'a éliminé tout crime. On peut pas te décrire, car pour ça pas esprit. La loi c'est ça nous suivre, et puis la foi n'a Christ. C'est lui qui est le Messie. Israël nous choisit, nous pas qu'à nous perdre du temps. Gaspille des plaies de référence, moi dis pas qu'il perd du temps. C'est marcher pour faire avance.
We're back. Thank you, Nice. Thank you very much for pillow intermission. This guy, man.
Man, he got to get the right pillow.
Yeah. And my back. Oh, my back, Like 99 years old over here in the spirit. Where we at? What verse is we in now?
Oh, man. Deke, we at verse 26.
All right, we're going to read down to verse 33 and stop there.
Yes, sir.
No, we're going to stop at verse 20. What do I have there? 29. Stop at verse 29. So we almost done. Good.
All right. Verse 26. 2 Kings chapter 15, verse 26. And the rest of the acts of Pekahiah and all that he did, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel.
Right, so Pekah killed this guy. Okay, Pekah, the son of Remaliah, killed Pekahiah. Go ahead.
In the 52nd year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekah, the son of Remaliah, began to reign over Israel and Samaria, and reigned 20
I think
years.
he reigned the longest. Go ahead.
And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord.
Go ahead.
He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin.
29.
In the days of Pekah, king of Israel, came Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and took Ijon, and Belabeth, Maacah, and Jonah, and Kadesh, and Hazor, and Gilead, and Galilee, all the land of Naphtali. He carried them captive to Assyria.
Took northern kingdom away, and took some of Judah also. Remember, they shared lands, so took some of them also. So Tiglath-Pileser III, during this time, took Israel, for the most part, most of the northern kingdom away, and some of Judah as well away to Assyria. All right. So now, we'll continue the rest, Lord's will, next week regarding Assyria and these kings that came up that rose up against us based upon Isaiah 10, verse 5 and down to 15. So what's the question we got? What comments we got, officer?
Well, this is just a piece of edification to what we were talking about earlier with the piano keys. The white keys were the black keys, and then that was switched around.
Right.
Somebody enlightened us as far as knowing our music piano keys.
Okay.
So the flat keys are now the white keys.
Okay, the flat keys.
Yeah, the
big
lesser
white ones.
keys on there. Yes, the black ones, they are the sharp.
The sharp, the small ones.
Right. So it used to be the other way around.
Right,
the
flat sharp.
keys used to be all the black keys, and the sharp was the white
ones.
Right. So thank you for that edification.
Thank
There's
you very
probably
much.
a lot of people who didn't know that.
Yep, I
and
did not
we
know
are
that.
enlightened now.
Thank you very much.
Hey, remember when you guys send in your questions and your comments, let us know your names and where you listening from. That's
Right.
very important, so we know how far we reach.
You want to know? Yeah, that's it?
Yep, that's it.
All right, so I guess everybody got edified then. I guess I pretty much went through it.
Yes, sir.
So we stopped at Tiglath-Pileser. This Tiglath-Pileser is Tiglath-Pileser III. Those of y'all who watched part 1, I went over the list of the Assyrian kings. I touched on Tiglath-Pileser I, Ashurbanipal, Shalmaneser the first, the second, the third. There's a whole bunch of them. So this is the third one. This is Tiglath-Pileser III right here, who took northern kingdom away. This is the first. He's also called Pul or Tiglath-Pul or Pileser. All right, the third. That's who this guy is. So we're going to stop here because this history ties into what we're going to read on later on in Isaiah, all right, regarding the Emmanuel and things like that. So I'm going to go into that, Lord's will, and then jump into, other things, Hosea and so forth, and Tobit. We're going to go more into that. Pull all the history out in between the reign of each Assyrian king and conquest of Israel. We did it before, but it's pretty much a recap. I don't think it's ever been done on video. So now we're doing this on video now. The captivities are now being on video, all praises now. So now you guys can go back and watch it again and again and again. All right, so all praises for that. So hope you guys enjoyed the class. Hope you guys enjoyed the segment. That's pretty much it. You have no questions, so we're going to end it early, pretty much.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hey, Israel, let's give Deacon a hand for that class. Man.
Absolutely.
That thing is amazing, man. We all here following along with the Bible ourselves. Hey, Israel, if you want to donate to help out with the book fund with the show, as you can see, Deacon is able to grab a lot of more books to educate all of us. You can donate on PayPal to iuic.philadelphia@israelunite.org.
Yeah,
right?
Someone donated a book to us recently. This book here, We the Black Jews, volumes 1 and 2, by Yosef A. Ben Yahakana. This book is pretty good. Well, I'm not sure if it's good, but that's some good stuff in there from what we saw. Some good stuff in there. So thank you for this donation. This is in-house, right? This donation's in-house.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
those of you who donate out-house, we also got those as well. We thank you.
And
Shout outs to DC also for donating this book as well. Ebos. I always took this book all the time. We kind of ignored it. We wasn't sure if it was good. Maybe because of the cover. I don't know. I'm picky like that. If it doesn't look old, I don't really mess with it. But this book has some good stuff in it. We'll be gonna be using this as well. We're definitely gonna tie into this. It's called the Ebos. Hebrew Exiles from Israel, Amazing Facts and Revelations by Professor O. Alezi. Okay. And then we have this book here, We the Black Jews, Volumes 1 and 2 by Yosef A. Ben Yahakanan, Witness to the White Jewish Race Myth. All right, so we're going to, Alpha Science going to go through this, he said, and bring some gems out of it, hopefully.
all praise the Most High.
Yeah.
Officer Jez was very proud of me, the fact that, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to get my history up. Right, Officer Jezreel?
Yeah, man, whatever you say.
All praises. All praises. We can read now.
I believe it.
Hey, look, shout out to Sister Bedina. That's IUIC Philly. She also donated Imperial Rome.
Oh, yes.
But that was Deacon's third copy.
Yeah, man, like 3 of those. All praise to the Lord.
So definitely we kept that. It's in our library.
Right.
So we appreciate the effort you guys are putting and keep on putting that effort, all right?
Yeah, we
All
got
praise
some
the
more
Most High.
books we got to order. We got to order. We got time, so I can talk some. We're going to order a few more books. We got a few lists of books we got to get. Right. King James' father. Okay, we found King James' father and a picture of him looking like a black dude. I mean, you can Google it. You'll see it. And we're trying to find where that book is. So we got to order all the volumes until we find it. I know it's in that book. They're not telling you which volume it's in, so we're going to get all the volumes.
That's right.
Until we find that picture. And once I find that picture, that lets us know that King James is black. That's his daddy.
Diligence, search of our forefathers.
Right. We already got his mama. We got his mother's grandfather. So we good with that. We good with her. And Elizabeth the First, we got her. J.A. Rogers has Elizabeth the First.
Right.
Who was his cousin, his mom's cousin. So we got her black. So that's a given. So, Lord's will, we gonna be all right. We got this other book with Bertans. We got that. So we should be all right. I mean, you're not going to find a book that says King James is black. Yeah. You're not going to find that. You have to find something close, but not quite. So we're going to start with his dad and work our way back.
We're gonna pretty much bring it together like we did like King Arthur.
We got pieces together. And then lay it out for y'all pretty much. That's what we got to do. The Silurians, all that.
Right.
All that. That's them. So we're going to definitely go into that. Yeah, so thank you for donating for the books. We're gonna buy all the books. We got books are expensive, man. Books are expensive, especially like multi-volumes or from overseas like India. Because sometimes you gotta mess around and call and complain like, where the book at? Oh, we're sorry because of the COVID, the flight. They drag their feet with stuff. So also we should get these books hopefully. That are more local.
Some books that we have, they actually banned over here in the U.S. And we had to go outside of the country to actually purchase.
To have them shipped back in. Yep, that's pretty much it. So
the hidden history is definitely important because they're hiding it and we're revealing it.
Pretty much
by the strength of the Most High.
Yep.
And our leadership. All praises.
Yep. All right. Yeah.
So Israel, hey, you see where the donation is going. Remember, you can donate on iuic.philadelphia@israelunite.org.
Right. So now, in this segment, we will be showing the books. It was the last series. I wasn't trying to do that because them books is too hard to find. But these books are pretty common. So we will, and the books you guys are responsible for us getting, we will show those. You can buy them as well, for yourselves as well. So all praises for that. Yeah.
All praise. Also, don't forget to donate to the Booster Club, which is iuic.fundraising@israelunite.org. You can also follow us on YouTube for all the episodes that Deacon has covered, from this side of the Americas, all the way back to the old world, to the chapters he just finished in chapter 34 for the Moors. All of that is found on Our Hidden History Radio YouTube channel. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Right, and do not ask in the comment board what book is that. Just wait till the video's uploaded and then rewind it and see what book I'm showing. I showed all the books. These past 2 chapters, I've showed the books that we're using. So if you have questions on what book is that, just go back and watch it again or skim through it and you'll see me hold the book up. You can know what book I used or what book that is being referenced, all right? So y'all got to keep asking the audience, do something in class. What book is that? Just rewind it and watch it later on to see. All right?
All praise.
Oh, so shout outs to the IT team. Excellent job, brothers. Excellent job. Excellent job.
Yes, sir.
And shout outs to the breakfast team as well. Sisters did a great job as usual. Food's always good. So we all over here during the class.
Hiccups and all that.
Because the food is, we ate so much.
Prophets are being taken care of.
Yeah, so all praises for that. So,
And last but not least, shout out to all the men that made it out to St. Louis yesterday.
Yes.
Shout out to the leadership for organizing that display of unity and quick response. All right. Shout out to Captain Joel. Shout out to Officer LaQuac, not here today. But y'all always here in spirit, all right? So to all IUIC, to all our listeners, we say shalom, Most High in Christ bless.
Shalom, Most High in Christ bless.
Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies are teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Do you know it? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Do you know it? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Now we going back, he done on my back for sure. When I let the truth go, we gon' let them know. My people on my back for sure. I hold them down for the road. The Lord Almighty made me, laws I got, they changed me. We can see the truth now, got them looking crazy. Man, I'm always searching, yeah. You hear I'm searching. You hear me, boy, I'm searching. You hear me, boy, I'm searching. You hear me, boy, I'm searching. Yeah.
Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Do you know it? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Do you know it? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, yeah. Rounding up the, yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, yeah. Reading through the law to see, I gotta dot the I's, even cross the T's, and you know it,
Praying to the Lord, have mercy. Show me where you wanna go first, you know. Oh yeah. While I'm teaching to the people that's thirsty, searching for the truth that's hidden, you know. Oh yeah. Speak through the mouth from my lips when I'm. Show me where you wanna go next, you know. Right away. If you lost and you don't know where the truth at, looking all around but you don't know where to go. Well, we gon' show you the way. Okay, let me read the line. Line it up, send it back to back. Taking 9 times. Doctrine killer, hater stepping back. Captain Joel from the book. Yeah, the prophet's back. Officer Ahim. Yeah, that's Pepper Black. Officer LaCroix. Yeah, from way back. Minister of knowledge. Officer, just remember that. We gon' search the whole world. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, oh. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies are teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. History, history. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. History, history. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? History, history.
Now we going back, Peter on my back for sure. When I let the truth go, we gon' let them know. My people on my back for sure. I hold them down for the road. The Lord Almighty made me. Laws I got, they changed me. We can see the truth now. I got them looking crazy. Man, I'm always searching. Yeah, you hear I'm searching. You hear me, boy, I'm searching. You hear me, boy, I'm searching. You hear me, boy, I'm searching. Yeah.
Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies are teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. History, history. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. History, history. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, and you know it, yeah. Rounding up the, yeah. Rounding up the book to read, I gotta get them all looking overseas, and you know it, and you know it. Reading through the law to see, I gotta dot the I's, even cross the T's, and you know it, and you know it. Praying to the Lord, have mercy. Show me where you wanna go first, you know. Oh yeah. While I'm teaching to the people that's thirsty, searching for the truth that's hidden, you know. Oh yeah. Speak through the mouth from my lips when I'm. Show me where you wanna go next, you know. Right.
lost and you don't know where the truth at. Looking all around, but you don't know where to go. Well, we gon' show you the way. Okay, let me read the line. Line it up, standing back to back. Taking 9 time. Doctrine killer, hater stepping back. Captain Joel from the book. Yeah, the prophet's back. Officer Ahim. Yeah, that's Pepper Black. Officer LaCroix. Yeah, from way back. Minister of knowledge. Officer, just remember that. We gon' search the whole world. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, oh. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back.